Namaskaram to all. We will start. Chaturmukha Samarambham Vakbhadacharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam Ragadirogan Sadatan Shaktan Sheshagaya Prasradana Sheshan Aulsukya Moha Aradidan Jakhana Yopurva Vaidyaya Namostu Tasmai. In our last session, we were seeing the status of rasa and something related to the status of rasa when we look into dosha. And we saw that the status of bhuta gunas, in effect bhutas, available in a given meal. A meal means a poshana, is very fast to reflect in the rasadhatu. The status of bhuta guna available in a particular poshana, a meal, is very quick to reflect in the rasadhatu. And we found the reason for this immediate reflection as the rasadhatu is a non-specific, or it is an unspecified one, an amorphous stuff. And it is a diffusely spread one. It is a diffusely spread one, unlike the many other dhatus. So what happens? Rasadhatu is becoming a very soft target. It becomes the quickest platform. It is assigned to reflect the status of bhutas available to the sharira very fast, very quickly. And this non-specific, it is non-specific, of course. It is non-specific, but very quick. This reflection in rasadhatu manifests as immediate primary change in the internal atmosphere of Sharira. So I'm talking about the internal atmosphere or the internal milieu of the Sharira. That changes in the rasadhatu should be ideally understood as the quick or primary change that is happening in the whole internal atmosphere of the Sharira. This is very interesting. Don't get very serious, but just listen and just try to visualize what we are talking about. I'm deviating from the conventional explanations, conventional scriptures. And later on, again, we may go away from what we are talking now. This is explained in detail because we are trying to go one step down, deep, from what is straight away explained in the Samhitas. So we were talking about the internal atmosphere and how the rasadhadu immediately reflect the whole of the internal atmosphere of Sharira. And we saw that or explained that this primary changes happening in the internal atmosphere of Sharira, the primary changes happening in the internal atmosphere of Sharira is what we often perceive or at least interpret as the changes happening in the status of the doshas in the Sharira. The changes happening to the internal atmosphere, which is reflected by the rasadhadu, is what we interpret in general as the status of doshas. So what happens, what we can conclude from this? The status of doshas in a sharira in a given point of time is an expression of the status of rasadhadu, and vice versa also. That is, the status of rasadhadu at any given point of time is an expression of the status of doshas in the sharira. It's a very simple thing, but we need to get the point correctly. The status of doshas in a sharira in a given point of time is an expression of the status of the rasadhatu, and the status of rasadhatu at any given point of time is an expression of the status of the doshas. So it is going to be very interrelated principles, and which is going to help a clinician to connect these points very easily and to draw very valid points which are critically important in the Roga Nirnaya, Aushadha Nirnaya. And things are becoming more obvious, which was not so otherwise. That is the importance of these ideas. Now, if rasadhadu reflects the status of doshas at any given point of time and place, kala and desha, in sharira, if rasadhadu reflects the status of doshas at any given point of time and place, then if we think that we are looking for the status of the dosha, because see, dosha ushadha nirupane, our mission itself in all our interventions as part of roga pariksha or rogi pariksha is two things: dosha ushadha nirupanam and roga nirupanam, aushadha nirupanam. So if rasadhadu reflects the status of doshas at any given point of time and place, we need to understand more about this rasadhadu. Then only we can understand more about doshas. In the textbooks, we find a sort of a overgeneralized statement. Dushyam desham balam kalam analam prakritim vayaha sattvam satmyam tathaharam avasthascha prithak vidhaha sukshma sukshmaha samikshesham doshaushadha nirupane. So the purpose is well defined. Doshaushadha nirupanam. And we get a lot of variables. And we do not know how to apply this. So that is where we are actually lacking in our clinical methodology, dragging behind, lagging behind. So we need to understand more about the rasadhatu. Then only we can understand more about doshas. This is because this system is fundamentally depending upon. I'm not audible properly. Okay, I will keep myself closer to the mic. So fundamentally, the ideas are spinning about how the poshana of the sharira is happening. How the poshana of the sharira is happening. The very idea of tridoshas, I would say, is evolved out of this concept. How the body is getting nourished. So that is why we need to look more into the understanding of rasadhatu. We already placed rasadhatu separately from the other dhadus for many reasons. One reason we just saw that it reflects the status of doshas very quickly. Then we saw that it is an undifferentiated, amorphous stuff in its nature. Then there are many other unique points regarding rasadhatu. We know all these things, but we have to recollect promptly. One such idea is that everybody knows that it acts as the raw material for all other dhadus. Dhadavaha khalu dhattvaharaha, we have said. Rasa is the ahara for the rekta, rekta is for the mamsa, mamsa is for the medas. Dhadavaha khalu dhattvahara. But it is not just in that sequential way alone when we consider rasa. Rasa is the ahara for all other dhadus. That means it has the potential to transform to any other dhatu. So that way, just for a expression of this potential, we can say that rasadhatu that way is a pluripotent substance. Pluripotent is generally used in the modern biology, where a cell is having the capacity to develop into many other cells. So that sort of a pluripotency we can identify with rasadhatu. It is a pluripotent substance. This is very unique to rasadhatu. When compared with the other dhadus, this sort of a nature is very unique with the rasadhatu. So that is the third point. Then another unique point with the rasadhatu is that it is not used as such as the building material to make any avayava in the sharira. Of course, some exceptions may be there, which is very obscure. Sharira has got many avayavas. Koshtangas, Hridayam, Kloma, Puppusam, Undugam, Andram, Yagrit, Pliha, and many other avayavas. Everything is actually, we are perceiving the Sharira as a group of avayavas working together as a system. And each avayava is made using dhadus as the building materials, as the building blocks. So, Rakta is used, Mamsa is used, everything is used for making. So, Rasa as such is not used as a building material for another avayava. It is the building material for all other dhadus, but directly it is not used as a building material. Of one exception could be if you consider the blood as an avayava, the main ingredient is rasa. So that is one exception here. But I think they are many times they are not inseparable. See, at one point, Rakta itself is called as Rasatmagam Ojaha. The blood, not the Rakta Dhadu. And if you look at the other Dhadus, Shukra Dhadu can also share this status that it is not used as such as a material for any avayava. But it is an entirely different case, which we will discuss later. So the amorphous rasa is not used to make any avayava as such. That is what we found. Meantime, it is a raw material for making all other dhadus. This is also a unique nature of rasa dhatu. Now, rasa is present everywhere in the body. And it is going to be the primary material of survival. Rasa. It is a part of the udaga bhava of the sharira. Up. Ambu. In explanations of Avalambaka Kabha, we find it. Ambu karmana. So there is some udaga karma, udaga bhava, up bhava in the sharira, and this is the main bulk of the up dhadu in the sharira. Rasa dhadu is the main bulk of the udaga bhava. See, the inner realm of sharira can be considered as a pool of udaga or up, like a big ocean. Like a big ocean. In its basic form, this pool is primarily constituted by the rasadhadu along with other minor and major principles, including the malabhavas of dhadu parinama. I am repeating. The inner realm of the sharira, which is a pool of udaga, is having rasadhadu as its primary constituent, but not alone, along with other minor and major principles, and those principles include the malabhavas created as part of dhadu parinama. Altogether, we call it as the udaga bhava of the sharira. And see, so there can be many questions. Even though the Rasadhadu is the primary constituent of this Udaga Bhava. Whether they are same, what is the difference? There can be many questions. We will look into them quickly. Rasa is the essence of ahara, which is processed by Jadharagni and accepted by the Sharira as its fundamental nourishment. Rasadhadu is the essence of ahara sara, which is processed by Jadharagni. That is how it is created. Another point is, and accepted by the Sharira. So there are levels to validate, to assess, and determine whether this can be accepted or not. So Rasadhadu in its original form is accepted by the Sharira as its fundamental nourishment. Why should I state this? Because when properly formed, that is to be underlined, when properly formed, there is no malabhava in Rasadhadu. If it is not properly formed, the consequences are very high. That is why we have ama, we have amayas. That is why we state that ushmano alpavalatvena dhadu madhyam apajitam. It is a wide spectrum. It's a huge. Actually, when I make this one statement that rasa is the essence of ahara, which is processed by Jadharagni and accepted by the Sharira as its fundamental nourishment, when I make that pradigna to a clinician, a big area is opened up to understand samprapti, to understand vikaras, rogas. When it is properly formed, there is no malabhava in Rasadhadu. But we saw that the inner realm of the Sharira is a pool of Udaga, which contains rasa as its main ingredient, but there are other minor and major principles which include the malabhavas produced as a result of dhadu parinama. So these other principles, which are also sneha bhavas, which are added to the pool of udaga, it is something like the waste of an industrial factory or a unit is getting drained to a big canal. That is also added to the contents of the canal. So here the malabhavas of dhadu parinama is also poured into the main pool of udaga. But those which are added to this pool of udaga, the malabhavas of the dhadu parinama, they are literally malabhavas or the kitta bhaga of the dhadu parinama. They are not sara, but they are the kitta bhaga of dhadu parinama. The rasa in the pool is going to be taken up by the system again and again for making the other dhadus. Whereas this kitta bhaga is not used further for any nourishment purposes. If it is happening so, that is going to be a vikriti. The kitta bhaga in this pool of udaga is not going to be used for any nourishment further because they do not undergo any further validation by the Jadharagni. So they remain in the pool of Udaga for some time to get carried away by different srodasas and finally excreted from the Sharira. So we have a pool of Udaga inside the Sharira, within the Sharira, which is constituted by the Rasa and many other Kitta Bhagas. And we can call them together as Kleda. We can call this pool of Udaga as Kleda. But like many other terms in the Shastra, the term Kleda is also a highly generalized one, which gains meaning according to the context. That is one problem. According to the context, it gains meaning. Just 1 minute. Okay. When the Malabhavas which are poured into the pool of Udaga get excreted promptly by the system, what happens? Always this Kleda in the Sharira will be dominated by Rasadhatu because it is getting topped up with each meal. Of course, Kitta Bhagas are also poured into the Kleda as the Dhatu Parinama is an uninterrupted process. But they are excreted. Systematically, they are excreted from the system. So always the dominance of Rasadhatu is maintained in the Kleda of Sharira. So that is where the Rasa Shuddhi is becoming a very crucial thing. Of course, it has got wider applications, wider meanings, which we will see gradually. We will come to all these topics. So this Kleda with the Malabhavas are systematically excreted and the dominance of Shuddha Rasadhatu is always maintained, is a vital fluid for survival. Actually, that is where the life sustains. But when the Mala load in the Kleda is dominated by some or the other reason, it will be a morbid, a noxious medium, and then this Kleda, the same Kleda, will be designated as a Dushya Vishesha. That happens in many, not many sampraptis. In certain sampraptis, it is highlighted. In all sampraptis, it is an inevitable part. When the Mala load in the Kleda is dominated over the Shuddha Rasa, or when the Rasa Shuddhi itself is not maintained by some asana dosha, or see this the different directions to which we can travel from this is so diverse. Immediately with this statement we can connect this to Trinyapyedani mrityum va ghoran vyadhin srujanti va, which is explained in Matrasidiyam regarding the asana doshas. Trinyapyedani mrityum va ghoran vyadhin srujanti va. They are all sprouting from this idea. That is, the Mala Bhaga of the Kleda is dominating over the Sara Bhaga. then immediately it is going to change the very nature of the internal atmosphere of the sharira, which is becoming morbid, which is becoming noxious, toxic. And then the kleda is specifically assigned or designated as a dusha vishesha. It is to this idea that we are connecting the status of dosha. So it is very easy to just follow the text as such. That means vayoho ratri bhuktanam tendam adhyadiga kramad. Nothing serious about it. We by heart it. We never think further deep. Vayoho ratri bhuktanam tendam adhyadiga. Te vyavino bhi hrunabhyo. Okay, te vyavino bhi hrunabhyo. But to make some sort of a prajna samskaranam, when that prajna samskaranam is happening, then only we will be able to understand a clinical situation independently. Otherwise, we will be engaging in an exercise of to which chapter in Nidanasthana this condition can be connected. Nothing more, nothing less. We can't take the applications forward beyond the textbook. Of course, we have not completed. Now we stop here that this with this statement that when the mala load in the kleda is dominated by some or the other reason over the Shuddha rasa, it makes the internal atmosphere of the sharira toxic, morbid, noxious, or tainted, contaminated, and that medium is then onwards becoming a dosha vishesha, which is going to be an essential component of every disease process. Time is over, so I'm stopping here. Before that, I think there are some comments in the chat box. Let me see. Yeah, so about that pluripotent, there's a comment called it is stem cells. That is similar to stem cells, but I think I'm not hiring that idea as such, but it is a straightforward statement that rasa is having the potential to develop into all the other dhadus in the sharira. So in the literal sense, it is having the pluripotent nature. What about rasat stanyam tado asruchaha kandarasira, which is a statement about upadhadus. So upadhadu, it is a different idea. It is called upadhadu because they are not going to further pagam and next making of the dhadu. So they are all avayavas. To be precise, these are all to be understood as avayava. So what the question could be that, okay, rasam is used to make stanyam. That is true. Actually, they are just, it is not a avayava. It is just a change in form only for a specific purpose. That is why I mentioned in the Rakta Dhadu also, sorry, Rakta Avayava also. That is also a change in form only. Whereas making Vrikka with Rakta and Medas, or making Jihva with Mamsa and Rakta and Medas, that sort of Avayava Nirmiti is not happening there. Then Shidambu Kledayatyurvi. Vivasva Shoshayatyabi. With this concept, night rasa formation is different. So many diseases, Ratri Langhana is told, rasa formation with the sun relation in Sharira, how we understand. Yes, you are right on the point. You actually touched the marma in that. This is why many ideas of Matrasiddhiyam and all these things are developed. It is from this point that Ratri Langhana is told and late dinner is always discouraged. And actually, this is about that Surya Somanila concept. But it is not just about a plain statement or aptopadesha. We should understand that this is Surya Somanila in the Sharira. This soma is very crucial. This soma bhava is taken, accepted by the sharira as the rasadhatu. It is the ocean. And there is a sun which is situated in the koshta. And with the changes in the sun, it is going to reflect in the ocean. So many things are experiential. It is not just about, so there is the pramana is not aptobadesha alone, but it is a pratyaksha and anumana as well. Need not fully dependent on aptobadesha alone. Most of these things are experiential. So there is pratyaksha pramanam is there. Okay. So please give the link to join the group to access the recording. I hope Ashu, somebody of friends of this Ashu will share that link. Then how to study concepts. Oh, sorry. That is, I think we abhyasat prapyade drishti karma siddhi pragashini, something like that. So just read and listen. We will move forward together. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm calling it a day today. Hope to meet you next Thursday. Thank you very, very much. Bhishajam sadhu vrittanam bhadram agamacharinam abhyasta karmanam bhadram bhadram bhadrabhilashinam.